Hey folks, it's Tommy Z back with you again. Today we're going to do a short video on the 7 essential things that you need in order to be able to break into our industry. What is this industry? It is making original songs, scores, and sounds for the world's biggest brands. And I've had a chance to think about this. I've been in the business 15 years. I've had a chance to talk to my peers in the business whose job it is, and my job it is also to hire freelance composers, singers, songwriters, and we've thought about the qualities that really maximize chances of musicians of breaking in. The kind of characteristics that we see over and over again in the types of folks that actually make it and not only survive, but they succeed in our business. So let's start with, it's a list of 7 things. Let's start with number 1 right away, and that is skills. Now, folks, some people associate music for advertising or for brands with some cheap, low-quality jingles that you could find in a stock music bank, but this is very far from truth. Think about some of the world's biggest brands like BMW, like Google, like Adidas, like Nike. They are the curators and they are patrons of some really, really great music. They collaborate with great artists. They commission music that is made by world-class composers. So don't think for a second that you can just throw something together that is average and have a chance at breaking into this business and being a composer of note. Your skills really have to be at a world-class level. And if you want to know how your skills match up to what we're actually doing in our industry, the best thing is to check out what kind of work, what kind of music are brands using. You can go to adsoftheworld.com and see what brands are doing with their campaigns and their sound over there. You can go to my website, tommyz.co. You'll see my portfolio and you'll see what kind of songs or scores or sounds it actually takes to break into the business. And then you need to reverse engineer. What kind of skills are necessary in order to be able to create this original score? Or what kind of skills will I need to master in order to create this kind of song? So skill is obvious, it's very basic, but I feel like I have to start off this list for those of you who assume that you can have average skills and still stand a chance of getting into this business. That's not the case. Number 2, folks, is sounds. So it's one thing to be able to write lyrics, to be able to write songs, to be able to write scores. But the thing that really differentiates music that pops out in a brand campaign, music that we pay attention to, music that delights everybody on the working team, and then once the ad goes live, the audience that is watching it is the quality of the sounds. Now, as you can imagine, brands want to stay relevant, they want to stay modern, they want to stay up to date, they want to stay fresh. And so a lot of times they're going to look for the kind of sound that resonates with their audience right now, the freshest sound that is happening right now. When we speak about cool brands like Adidas, for instance, they really want to appeal to what the kids are listening to in the streets. If they don't do that, they lose their authenticity. They lose their credibility as purveyors of something that is fresh, of something that is culturally cool right now. And so in those cases, imagine how important it is for whoever is making the music to be completely in touch and in tune with the sounds of today. And that means you have to keep your sample libraries fresh. You have to keep your VSTs and instruments and samples and all the tools that you're using to make the music fresh. And not only that, you have to keep in touch with the latest developments. What are the latest bands doing? What are the latest production techniques? What sounds are right now popular? Because what we see in our business is that something will come along, okay? Let's say like Hans Zimmer's Batman score with that heavy horn, right? And then we see that score being referenced over and over again, right? Because brands want to replicate that sound because it's so popular right now. And we see the same in all the different genres. In hip hop and trap and the electronic music, as soon as something blows up, you start seeing it in different commercials. And so it's very important for composers, singers, songwriters to keep their sound libraries fresh. If your sounds are still from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, believe me, it's gonna sound stale and people will associate you with an aged sound, and you definitely don't want to be associated with something that is out of date, that is no longer cool, because that's a sticker that it's hard to peel off. So make sure you stay up on what's happening as far as sound, and you keep your libraries and your tools sharp. Number 3 is sensibility. Now, I really want you to pay attention to this part of the video, because sensibility for me is a very big word that encompasses a lot of other words, but it's one of the most important things in our business. What do I mean by sensibility? Sensibility, quite simply put, is who you are and how you work. We are in a creative business, folks. I've said this many, many times. We are not selling products like vacuum cleaners. We're not selling land or real estate. All those things have their own qualities by which people will judge them. They are products in themselves, and people can judge whether they're valuable or they're not valuable for the price. But in our case, we are the product. We become the people, the collaborators that our clients choose to work with. It's not about the studio. It's not about your skills even. Those things are basic and you have to have them. People will work with you because of who you are. So what are some of the things that I wrote down under this sensibility label? So number 1, obviously you got to be smart. You got to be somebody that your clients will want to spend time with. Nobody really wants to spend time with people below our intellectual level, because that leaves us uninspired and tired of dealing with folks like this. So how do you get smarter? Read more books, experience better art, be able to talk about things at a world-class level. That way, when you speak to potential collaborators, they see that you're a person of great instinct and great taste. This is all part of shaping your sensibility. Things like being responsive. So people get a taste after interacting with you that every time they email you, you respond quite fast. You're diligent, responding to people's needs. And when you do that over time, that becomes your sensibility. It's like people associate you with somebody who's very responsive, and they know that you'll be reliable, and they know that they can leave the problem with you. You see how important this is? Resilience. Resilience is your ability to stay graceful, productive, prolific, creative under pressure. That's also a part of your sensibility. It makes up who you are and how you work. Imagine if being resilient is not a part of your sensibility as a craftsperson. Then you will get frazzled when difficulties arise, when clients have issues with your music and you have to redo it 10 times. You will get impatient, you will get cynical, you will get negative. And that will become a part of your sensibility. And that kind of sensibility is something that people are not going to want to be around. Your ability to communicate, that's a part of your sensibility. There are ways to improve your communication skills. There are books out there, and I'm going to link them below in the resources that you can use to learn how to communicate better, how to reach out to folks without being afraid of rejection. The best way I can sum up your sensibility is just having a good attitude, just being the kind of craftsperson that other people want to be around, the kind of craftsperson that is trusted because you have great instincts, because your taste is really good, because your skills are really good, and your responsiveness and your reliability is really good, and also because you are simply liked, because you're a person that is positive, that is energetic, that is constructive, and no matter how difficult things get, people want you on their team because they know that you are able to bring forth inspired, creative magic, even if you have to do it fast, and even if you have to do it under difficult conditions. And that's the kind of conditions that we often work in our world of music and brands. So sensibility is made up a lot of words that I just mentioned, but it's a very important one. It's becoming a person who is able to help other collaborators in our creative industry to come up with inspired solutions. So that was number 3. Number 4 is showcase. That's our fourth S. And so it's all good if you have the skills. It's all good if you have the sounds. It's all good if you're a person of great taste. You're reading books. You're able to connect with people. You have great qualities that make you a fantastic craftsperson. But none of that is enough unless you actually leave your studio, unless you actually leave your house and you showcase your skills, your sounds, your sensibility to other people. And I keep repeating this over and over in these videos and in my masterclass. Relationships with other people are going to be responsible for all your opportunities, for all your work, for all your projects, and for all your memories too, if you think about it. And so it's not enough just to lock yourself in a studio, update your sample libraries, work on your skills as a songwriter, and then what? And then not go out and not find a market for your musical skills. It's ultra important that you know how to showcase yourself as a creator, as a craftsperson. What does that mean? You have to have a portfolio. You have to have a portfolio of your best musical moments that in 5 seconds, it gets people's attention, and it doesn't have to be long. 90 seconds. In 90 seconds, you should be able to tell your story. Who are you as a musician? That's your portfolio. Tell me in less than 5 seconds that you're someone that I want to deal with. So it should start impactfully and in an interesting way. And in the next 90 seconds, it should basically tell me, okay, this is somebody I really need to watch. This is someone I need to put on my radar because they can make my work much better with their music. So that's your portfolio. Where are you going to put this portfolio? You should have a simple but irresistible, compelling website, okay? Because when you reach out to people, when you start emailing people, that is your business card. I don't want to see essays, autobiographies in your email. We music producers in the business are too busy to read long emails. So when I see a short, crisp email that sends me to a compelling, clear, crisp, beautiful, irresistible website, and on this website, I don't have to look around. I see a big play button and it says, here is me in 90 seconds, and I click it and I'm delighted by it. Guess what? You've just maximized your chances of being able to break into this business. So showcasing your work and developing relationships and being able to sell your superpowers to the marketplace is obviously an indispensable skill if you want to work in our business. Also, as far as connecting goes, it's the ability to write emails. Now, I get a lot of emails every single day from musicians around the world, and this is what I teach my students in the masterclass. Don't write long emails to music producers. Some people will write me like 500 words, all about their musical experience and their accomplishments, but not share a link to the music. I mean, it is the music that is supposed to speak for you, folks. It's not words. Until I actually hear something, I have no idea who you are as a musician, no matter what you say. So music is the thing that really should speak for us, rather than all these pretty words that we write in emails. So keep your emails short. Make sure you send a link to a website that is also simple, that has your portfolio, and that portfolio gets my attention in the first 5 seconds, and it doesn't take more than 90 seconds for me to make up my mind about you and what kind of craftsperson you are. So that's 4, showcase. Number 5 is speed. Now, this industry, making music for brands, it is all about speed, folks. I've literally had projects that had to be done the same day. In other words, I woke up in the morning, I had a request from a client, and they were in a bind. They couldn't find any good music. They had to finalize the campaign today. And so they call me in order to save them, in order to help them find something last minute. I'm not saying that always happens, but be ready, folks. This business is all about speed. Very often, the average time to create a magnificent song or a score or a soundtrack, the average is like 2 or 3 days for us to come up with a demo to send to the client to see if they're going to like it. 2 or 3 days. Okay, folks, that's pretty fast. That's not a week. That's not 2 weeks. That's not a month to fiddle and doodle and dabble. You have to be really, really good at coming up with inspired musical magic very fast. And that's something that you can practice. That's something that you can work on by having workflows, by being familiar with your DAW, by being familiar with your sound libraries, by knowing where each of your sounds are so that you can put together your songs and your scores very quickly. Okay, so that's number 5, speed. Number 6, and by the way, all of this comes with practice, folks. This doesn't happen overnight. If you're listening to this going, oh man, I'm never gonna have a chance to nail all of these S's, all of these essentials. Of course course you are. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. All of my students in the masterclass are familiar with the saying because I keep repeating it. Your music career as a craftsperson is not a sprint. It doesn't happen overnight, okay? These are things that you establish over time, but you have to be mindful of them, okay? So number 5 was speed. Number 6 is stamina. Now, stamina is one of those things that keeps you going, keeps you inspired, positive, constructive, even though things might get difficult. So for those who are on their way in to the industry, you're gonna need stamina. It's not going to happen overnight. There are some composers and songwriters in our business who've worked on the biggest brands in the world, and they are amazing artists. And it took them a year and a half or 2 years to finally break into the business. Can you imagine? It takes time. But even when you're on the inside of the business, you're going to need stamina. Why? Because sometimes we will work on a project for about a month, trying to find the right song or score. We will write 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 songs, and they will all be rejected by the client or the film director or somebody on a working committee. What is necessary at that point when you're facing resistance, when you're facing rejection, when nothing is going right? It's the ability to be able to walk back into the studio and create a 14th track that is still as amazing, inspired, energetic, magical, charming as the 13 other ones that you wrote that for some reason the client didn't like. Imagine what happens if you don't have stamina. You simply give up, right? You may still be in the process. You might still be sending emails. You might still be writing songs, but that energy that you need to create the magic is gone because internally you gave up. And that's the kind of stamina I'm talking about. The one that keeps you persistent, okay? The one that keeps you resilient. The one that keeps you from giving up internally. The one that makes you show up at the studio after 13 songs got rejected and you're ready to write another one, and you're optimistic that this time you're going to be able to figure out how to write the song that the client will actually like. Stamina is huge, folks. It's huge. Without stamina, really, nothing good can happen. Nothing good can happen in life because we are going to face difficulties. We are going to face rejection. We are going to face crickets sometimes. And it is the stamina that's going to pull through the musicians who succeed. And all the other ones we're not going to hear about because they will simply give up and they will fade out. Okay? So that's number 6, stamina. And number 7, the final one, is what I call surprise. So the thing that will really separate you from all the other musicians in the business is when you send me something that is surprisingly good. Not just good, but surprisingly good. The word surprise means for me a few things. Number 1, that the kind of music that you send me is something over and above what was asked for. It's not only what we asked for, but it also has an extra dimension, an extra flavor, an extra ingredient, and a magical hook that we just didn't expect. Think about what makes music great. It's the surprise factor, right? We're riding along with the intro, we're listening to the verse, we're kind of bumping along with it, and then the chorus comes. And you're like, wow, I did not see that coming. Music, great music, is all about surprise, but so is your career as a musical craftsperson in our industry. If you're the kind of craftsperson who will consistently deliver music that is surprising your clients, people like me, music producers, and you go over and above what was asked, because it's not just about the creative, it's also about basically solving the problem. So for instance, sending me not just one song, but 2 songs. That's surprising in a positive way. I open my email inbox, I'm expecting 1 demo, I see 2 amazing demos. Those are the kinds of things that over time are going to position you as an absolute must go to. If you just do what's necessary, if you just send in the kind of music that is expected, you're gonna have a lot of competition. I hope that makes sense because most people are gonna do that. So what I'm saying, the 7th element, the most important one, surprise, is going above and beyond what was asked, not just musically, but creatively, but logistically, sending stuff sooner, sending stuff better, sending more options, just being more responsive than most musical craftspeople are going to be. I hope this list has been useful in some way. Those are the 7 things. I can't think of anything else that would really be essential to not just surviving, but succeeding in our business. If you have any questions, please ask them below in the comments. If you have comments, please comment below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. I'm Tommy Z. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.